مرحبا, أهلا وسهلا فيكم. Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we're featuring a delicious meatless vegetarian dish called mujadara. Mujadara is great by itself or as a side to any other meal that you have. Let's get started. Your ingredients are very simple. So you'll need 1 cup of rice. You can use brown rice, white rice, or long grain rice, or whatever rice you have in your pantry. Olive oil, 16 ounces of lentil, and you can use any kind of lentil if you have green lentil, brown lentil. You'll need a small onion, 2 regular size onions, and then you'll need salt and pepper to taste. The onions are 2 we're going to caramelize and put on top of our mujadara when it's done, and 1 we're going to finely dice and cook to add in with the mujadara cooking so it can cook together. So I start off by rinsing my lentil. I'm just making sure it gives at least a 1 thorough rinse before I add it to my pot. And then I'll add it to my pot. Then I'll have 4 cups of water. And on medium-high heat, I'll bring this to a boil. So while my lentil is boiling and getting cooked, I'll do my onions and get them caramelized. So the 1 onion is going to be diced. So I will dice 1. Now this is the onion that we're gonna add to our cooking with the rice and the lentil. So that one, we'll just dice it. And as fine as you can or as coarse as you can. I mean, nobody's judging. Do it as fine as you can. The other 2 onions are going to be just in a slice. And what I do is I cut them in half, and then I just do it this way. And then it'll come up as a slice, and then we'll caramelize those. There's 2 kinds of onions that we're going to be sauteing, the diced and the sliced. The diced is going to be included in with your lentil and your rice as it's cooking. These we're going to saute them a little bit darker than your normal caramelized. So I've got about 2 tablespoons of olive oil heated in my pan, and I'm going to add the dice. And then while that's cooking, and I'll show you how far or long we're going to end up cooking them and what color it should be before we do our dice. So once these get cooked, we will pull them aside and add them to a plate. And then we can use the same pan to caramelize the other side. So you can make these as dark as you want or as light as you want. The older generation used to actually burn them to make them black, and then they would crush them to like powder and then add them into the mujadara. But we like them just about this color. And then what I'll do is I'll remove them and then add them to a plate to put aside. And then in the same pan, turn my heat back on, I will do the slices. Now I'll add about a tablespoon of olive oil, and then I'll add in my slices. Now the slices are to go on top of the mujadara once it's done. These you'll cook down just enough to get caramelized, and then also put aside while your lentil is cooking. Okay, so you're going to test your lentil. The water's been boiling, I'd say probably about 30 minutes now. And just test 1 lentil just to make sure it's a little soft. If you need to add a little bit of water, if sometimes some lentil is very difficult, doesn't cook quick enough, you can add another cup of water and let it boil a little bit more, but this is fine. So what I'll do is I'll add my rice. Now I've rinsed the rice out. It's just a habit that I have. Some people do, some people don't. Preference again, that's why it's a little sticky. I rinse it out and make sure it's clean. I add about 2 teaspoons of of salt. Again, salt is to taste, and 1 teaspoon of pepper. And then once you're done with it, I mean, always taste your salt and pepper and make sure there's enough to taste. Give this a good little stir. Get them all happy. Now while I'm stirring, I don't know if you can see in the background, my onions caramelizing. I'll keep playing with those onions until they're at a color that I like and caramelize. And then once this is all stirred up together, you're gonna add 3 cups of water. Give it another good stir. And then just simmer to low medium and let it come back up to a boil. So this is what we like our caramelized onions to look like to put on top of our mujadara when it's done. So once it's about that color that you like, just turn your stove off and you can let them sit in this pan. Just move it off to the side from the heat, and then just wait till your mujadara is done. Okay, so we simmer to bring it to a boil, which it is, and then we're gonna get our diced onions and then just add them. And like I said, some of the older generation, and sometimes some of the newer generation is also doing it. They're actually burning this onion and then including it in, crushing it just to a little powder and then including it in. It is good, and I do recommend trying it if you ever want to be spontaneous, but it gives it definitely the mujadara a different taste. So we will do that, add our onions. This is a good time to taste the juice for your salt and pepper if you wanted to add more. Otherwise, just leave it simmering until it dries, the water evaporates a little bit more, and your lentil is fully cooked and your rice is fully cooked. So it's been about 10 minutes on medium-low heat, so I'll just give it a good stir. Now every 2 to 3 minutes, you should be stirring it just to make sure it's, you know, the top is coming up to the bottom and so forth, that it's evenly. So I will just take a little bit just to taste the rice and make sure my lentil and rice is good. And make sure everybody's soft and no added salt, and it tastes delicious. Now, if your rice is still crunchy or has not cooked all the way through, add a little bit of water. Go like start off with a 1/2 cup, stir it all up, keep it on medium-low heat, and see where that takes you. You can keep doing that until your rice and lentils completely set. Now you'll turn your stove off and we will platter. Okay, so now we're ready to platter it. What we're gonna do is just pour it into our bowl. Everyone's gonna be surprised for dinner tonight. Now, mujadara can be made with a kidney bean and rice. It can be made with a kidney bean and wheat germ. So, you know, it's the same, pretty much the same ingredients, substituting your lentil for kidney beans and substituting your rice for either keeping it rice or making it into using budrul or wheat germ. So it depends. My mother used to always make it with the red kidney bean and the rice, but since I've started having it with lentil, I liked it so much more. And then we use our caramelized onions to put on top. Now you can, if you wanted to just make your life a little bit more easier, is just right before you platter, you can take all of this delicious caramelized onions and mix it all in and then just platter it. And then you can decorate it with any other vegetable that you have. I have some fresh green pepper from our garden this year, so I'm just gonna add that. Or you can just put it in a separate plate or however, and then just bon appetit, sahtan. And I hope you enjoy the mujadara as much as I've enjoyed putting this together for you.